As you learn about the narcissistic pattern, it's also wise to reflect on the much healthier alternatives. Now, below you're going to find a link to my new extensive course called Ready, Set, Connect. It addresses both the mindset and the skills involved in gratifying relationships, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. As part of you being able to come to terms with narcissistic individuals, it's going to be so important for you to know what's truly going on inside of them. Now, we have some exterior elements that are identifiers of the narcissism, but those exterior identifiers are set up by internal struggles that they can't come to terms with, and one of the primary problems that they are unable to come to terms with is their own shame. Now, before we get there, let's have a reminder. Narcissists are identified by their strong selfishness and self-absorption. They have to have control over you. They're not at all bashful about what that means. They don't care about who you are and what you feel. They have low empathy. They hide behind a shield of a false self. They live with a lot of pretense. They feel like they must come across as superior, which then allows them, in their own minds, to rationalize why it's okay to manipulate and exploit you. Ground zero, though, underneath all of that is an inability to come to terms with the issue of shame. Narcissists are trapped inside of shame. Now, if I were to say that to the narcissist, or if you were to confront the narcissist with that, they would look at you and think, no, I think you missed it on that one. That's not an issue with me. Because a long time ago, they learned that if they accept any form of shame or if they examine shame, somehow that's not going to end well. And so they have learned and they have determined, almost on a subconscious level by the time they become adults, to run away from any kind of discussion about any shame that might be on the inside of them, which means then that they deny it and then they put it onto you. They're inside the trap that refusal or that denial sets up, and they want you to get inside the trap on their behalf, if you will, by proxy. Let's break this down, and I want to take a look at both sides of that question. What's it like to be inside a narcissistic trap of shame? Now, first, let's just take a look at some of the characteristics that you can commonly see associated with the narcissist. Narcissists can be grossly insensitive toward you, and then you know what? They feel no shame because of it. They deny any shamefulness that might imply with them. Narcissists can go over the top with their anger, and it can be very unruly, either in an openly aggressive or passively aggressive way with a lot of contempt. Still no shame because, you see, it's not about them, it's about you. In addition, narcissists cannot, admit faults. They refuse to say those words, I was wrong. No shame with respect to their own problematic behaviors. They just keep repeating the same things over and over, but it's like, I'm not admitting anything. In addition, these individuals, I mentioned they can be self-absorbed. In their shame, they wind up becoming selfish to the core. It's like, I have to just look out after number one, and I'm the only one that matters here. And as a result, when they do that, they don't feel any shame about it because they feel that that's their prerogative. Likewise, they refuse to listen to you. And then if you were to point that out, they would feel no shame with respect to that. They can overlook your valid needs. It's like, I don't care. And then they don't feel any shame for something like that. They can be filled with condescending insults. They can use individuals quite freely. They can have lots of accusation and blame. No shame. That's not on me. That's on you. It's all about you. They can lie. They can keep secrets on a very easy kind of basis. They don't allow themselves to say, you know, those kind of behaviors are problematic. I probably need to take a look at it. It's like, no. Because way back in their early years, they concluded if you start admitting something that might be wrong with you, it's not going to end well, and I don't want to admit anything. And so that becomes the trap that they're in. They can't acknowledge it, and as a result, they can't do anything constructive with that particular emotion, and so they feel no shame. They won't allow themselves to have that, and then the second part of the equation is they want to invite you into the shame trap, and there are multiple ways that they go about accomplishing that. Now, first, before we get there, you might want to remind yourself they have an end game here. And the end game is if they can think, well, or if they can convince you you're worse, which means I'm better. So that's the end game. They elevate themselves by putting you down. And the way that they'll put shame onto you that they don't want to have to come to terms with is multiple. First, they'll ask you lots of loaded questions. What's wrong with you? Or why would you do something like that? And they're not asking those questions for the sake of gathering constructive information. They're trying to put you in a down position. In addition, they'll remind you over and over, by the way, that you're not going to be able to please them. And basically, they're just so fed up with who you are, and they have so many demands, and that's their entitlement, that it's like you just can't do anything right, can you? Likewise, as part of them putting shame onto you and hoping to keep you in that shame-based position, they'll give you lots of criticism. They can use jokes. They can make sarcastic comments at your expense. That's their way of whittling away at your sense of well-being. They can pronounce you as unlovable, or they can pronounce you as undesirable and unfit. They can constantly remind you that you're supposed to agree with them because you see your opinions or your thoughts or preferences, etc. They just don't cut the mustard, do they? In addition, because of that, or along with that, they'll designate you as the less than person. They might know about what your needs are, even if you tell them, and it's like, don't expect any assistance out of me. They won't assist you because why should I bother with you? You're not worth it. In addition, they'll give you plenty of invalidation if you have an opinion or a preference or interpretation that might not be on par with where they are. That's their way of bringing you down. They can go into lots of character assassination. You're just a pathetic loser. Things like that. And as a result, they refuse to look at their own inadequacies and problematic behaviors. And what they do is they put it all onto you. They project and they displace, and then they want you inside the shame trap. And all along, they can't even acknowledge, actually, I'm the one who's in the trap because I'm unable to deal with this. Again, I'll go back and reiterate. Their twisted logic takes them to the conclusion that says, if I can fill you with enough shame, that means I don't have to look at my own shame. But in fact, it does the exact opposite. Their unresolved struggles with shame keeps them inside the permanent trap of the narcissistic pattern of life, which is quite dysfunctional, and they don't grow. Now, you see, let's go back into those developmental years. And if we could describe the ideal that could have happened, or you would prefer to happen, there are some teachings that could have happened or that could have been absorbed by that person who later becomes the narcissist, and it just doesn't take. One teaching first is, and there are three quick things I want to mention on this. They need to understand in those early years, you are in fact a mistake maker, or perhaps just sometimes you're ill-informed. Why don't we take a look at what that means so that you can grow and you can learn and you can mature, and we can examine those kind of things that may not fit perfectly or get the right results. And let's just look at some of the things about you, your humanity, as a means for growth. That message didn't soak in. A second message is they can also be taught that when you're off or when you're erratic or when you have moods, that doesn't mean that you have rotten character. It just simply shows that you're human. And so let's make sure that we don't go into the place of saying that mistakes means that you're just a terrible, awful human being, which then leads to a third very core message that needs to be there. and that is they need to be taught that your value, your sense of dignity does not rise or fall based on your various fluctuations. It's simply part of your humanity. Now, there's a term that I have. It's what I refer to as trained incompetence. And instead of being competent in those kind of elements that is implied in what I just said, they just stay in the incompetent thing. It's like, I don't know what to do with all that stuff. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go. And as a result, all these negative habits that I just mentioned come into play. Healthy individuals can say something to the effect of, when I do something wrong, or if I err, or if there's just something that hasn't crossed my mind yet that I need to learn, I'm not inherently worthless. I can still maintain my sense of well-being, but narcissists can't think like that. They're inside the trap, and in their mind they're thinking, well, I know that belittlement is on its way toward me if I don't protect myself, and the best way for me to protect myself is to pull you down. They're inside that trap. They can't deal with their core shame, and as a result they unload it onto you. That's their bent. But I'm hoping you can think to yourself, okay, note to self, when the narcissist tries to pull me into that trap, I'll stand pat over here on my own. I'm not going inside that space with them. I'm good. Now, I hope that videos such as this can give you some awareness of what you're dealing with. Narcissists, unfortunately, are tormented souls who just haven't figured out the healthy way of life at all. And so as you continue to watch the videos on a cumulative basis, I hope it gives you more and more of a sense of education about who you can be versus where they are. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so. We'll just keep more coming towards you. Likewise, sometimes when you're trying to unpack this and the light bulbs are turning on, it can be good to have a therapist to help you unpack that. And you know, I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below the video here that will take you to their website, and it can be so essential for somebody to help you kind of walk through some of the ways that these patterns have been placed on the inside of you so that you can look at the alternatives. So please, as the need is there, go to the BetterHelp place and be a few questions answered, and then you'll be able to choose from a whole team of licensed professional therapists. Also, I have courses that I put together. I put a lot of work into them, and it's like signing up for an online class. Each course has at least 25 videos, so that's quite a bit of work that I put in, and a lot of written material along with each video, and then guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about the class on having healthy connection skills. We also have This Is Me, a class that's all about establishing boundaries in a proper way, and then Free to Be, finding yourself despite those controllers. And in addition, on my website, and all of this is on there, we have my webinars. We have access to the Surviving Narcissism podcast. We have lots of articles, and then we have my book. So there's plenty of resources for you. Okay, narcissists are ensnared. They're inside their cage of unresolved shame. They don't know what to do with it, and so they completely mismanage it. And somehow it's always going to be your fault. Understand that's their trap. I'm hoping you can, as you see it, you can decide, you know, I am going to go into a different direction. I stand for dignity, respect, and civility. That's what we do here on Team Healthy. And in doing so, I'm hoping you can see that's the path that you can take that's going to allow you to live inside your own sense of well-being and peace.